Well, hey, y'all. Welcome to Sharpen, where no matter the conversation, we always seem to whittle life down to what matters most. And we hope that as you hang out with us, you will be inspired to do the same. My name is Nicole Payne. To my left is Natira Blount, and to my right is Danielle Perry. And as you can see, we are missing our sister Lynn Root today, but by God's grace, she will be back with us the next time. So today's topic is, can I be corrected? And just like the last time when we did our episode on faith and mental health, we started out sharing some social media responses to a post that I put out. And so the post that I put out around this topic is simply, what comes to mind when asked, can I be corrected? And some of the responses that came back are accountability comes to mind. Somebody else said, yes, I can be corrected. Another person said, everyone won't receive correction though. One said it depends on who's correcting, why, how it's done. Does the person that's doing the correcting, does their life show that they're the right person to do the correcting? Does their life bear fruit that shows that they should be doing correcting around whatever it is that they're saying? Another person asked, do they have the right heart when correcting? Another person said correction can help you develop thick or tough skin. Correction carries different amounts of weight based on several parameters. So there's a lot coming out of that question. And I believe that we'll hit on some of those things more in depth today anyway. Now, we have some guiding questions that we three will be talking about as well. But I first want to start with giving the direction of what it means to correct. And it means to put right an error or a fault. That's what it means to correct. So the first guiding question that we're going to talk about is, when you're corrected, what internal process do you go through? And then how do you normally respond externally?
I'll start. It doesn't feel good. It kind of, for me, it makes me, if I'm not careful, I'll be defensive, depending on who it is. For example, my husband, if he corrects me, if I'm not careful, I'll want to like come back and say, what you mean? Like, kind of just want to come back. But when I actually slow down and realize that the correction is good, I think I'm better able to be silent and not say anything, even though that's hard. So I think initially it's kind of like, that doesn't feel good. But eventually, especially if the correction is good, I'm receptive to it. And I humble myself and I say, just don't say nothing, Danielle. Receive it and be okay with it.
So so you said, especially when the correction is good. So then that says to me there are times when the correction is off or not relevant or bad.
I mean, I think sometimes the correction can be subjective, as in, someone may think that what they're sharing as far as correction goes is good, and it's like, nah, that wasn't good. I think as we mature, we know who to listen to, and then we know, maybe I can listen to you about that, but about this over here, I don't know if I can listen to you about that. So I think it does depend on who the correction comes from. As for me, as to be able to discern, okay, is that something that I want to receive for myself, or is that something that I kind of want to say thank you, but no thanks in my head, type thing.
So is there ever a time when the correction comes from a trusted source, but the correction still doesn't jive with you?
That's a good question. Yeah, because none of us are perfect. None of us have the answers for everything. So I think depending on, who it is or maybe what the situation is, someone may have good intentions, kind of like that quote we heard in Pilgrim's Progress yesterday. It was something like, they may have good intentions, but they're not leading you the right way. So I think we can have good intentions. Sometimes maybe even we're not giving out necessarily the right correction, you know. So none of us are perfect. So sometimes the correction isn't always what it should be, even if you have good intent.
Yeah.
I was just recently listening to a pastor. I can't remember. I'm 90% sure it was Pastor Tony Evans. But either way, he was telling the difference between rebuking and correcting.
Okay.
And I just remember an organization that I was in, and people used to say, "Ooh, somebody about to get rebuked. Ooh, he just got rebuked," and it was just so annoying. Like, stop. Like, be quiet. But what he was saying was, when you're dealing with a rebuke, it's really something where someone tells you what you're doing is wrong or what you're thinking is wrong. They're just telling you that something is wrong. Something ain't right. Oh, you ain't doing it right or whatever. But to be corrected is when they give you tools or guidance to adjust or fix what's going on. You know, when you correct the test, normally as a teacher, when I correct the test, I don't just mark them wrong, unless I'm giving them a chance to redo it. If I know I'm not giving it back to be redone, I'm going to put the right answer. I'm going to show them, you know, this step right here, and I'm going to write it in, you know, some color ink. Apparently, teachers shouldn't use the color red.
Correct. Anyway.
But that, you know, so when you know the difference between a rebuke and being corrected, then I think I'm able to think more clearly about my responses. Because you know, your little rebuke doesn't do much. If you have nothing for me to help me, you know, correct the behavior that you're telling me is wrong, which you did nothing except make me mad.
Yeah.
So, but when we're talking about being corrected, let me go back to the question right quick. The process I go through, normally when I've been corrected, from what I can remember, it was from someone who's trusted, from someone whose voice I can trust, or I can be receptive and open to. I think there's a level of appropriateness that we have to remember as people who want to correct something. For instance, I'm a school teacher, but I went on a field trip with my son as a mom, and when we were on the bus, the kids were making more noise than what Mrs. Blount's bus would sound like. It was like, these 4th and 5th graders up on here tripping.
Yeah.
And I almost stood up and said, "If you can hear me clap once." Now, most of them know me, but some of them only know me as Gideon's mom. It wouldn't have been appropriate for me to run up on there trying to correct that holistically. So I just sat down. Now, at some point, there's one little boy, I said, "Sir, we heard you.
Yeah, correct.
You can stop whooping. We see the roller coaster. We almost there. Too much." But other than that, you know, I realized the space I was in, the authority that I had. So I had to know what was appropriate. Now, if it was my class, I would probably just be able to stand up to the front and only have to say, "If you can hear me clap once." I wouldn't even have to get to like clap 3 times, but that's my class. So to know, you know, it really does matter where you stand when you call yourself correcting someone. And you can be a child and say, you know, I'm not saying if you're a kid or if you're younger or if you've been married for 8 years and I've been married for 17, I'm not saying that doesn't mean that you can correct, because there could probably be something there that you can speak to. But I think there is a level of authority that someone needs to have with regards to whatever arena it is. Like if it's at work or, you know, or if it's in the home, or if it's at church, or if it's, you know, somebody speaking to me regarding me being a mom or a wife or whatever. We do have to consider the authority and the fruit, like someone said. Somebody said that, right? Of the person who is speaking. So my mental process, LaTanya one time said something to me, and it stuck. And I heard it before, but I don't remember really applying it. But something was going on, and something was happening, and I wasn't comfortable. I was just like, I don't know, because she said, "Girl, eat the meat and spit out the bone." I said, "Oh, okay." You, like you were saying, Dan, you take what applies, and the other part of it, like you don't always have to, like, we ain't got to fight about it, or
Right,
I don't
right.
even really need to say much to you about
Right,
it,
right.
unless in turn you really actually need to be corrected on your correcting.
Right,
But
right.
eat the meat, spit out the bone, and I'm learning more how to do that too.
It takes maturity to do that.
Yeah.
Because when I first heard that, I didn't think that quote made sense at all. Because for me, it was like, but what you're saying that I don't want to receive, to me, it trumps everything else, right? When
Because you begin to focus on that.
yeah,
You're
I
not-
began to focus on the thing that I didn't agree with versus you actually saying other things that are
Yeah.
actually pretty good, right? I think it takes just maturity to be able to pinpoint, oh yeah, I can receive that, but that, nah, I can't do that, without throwing the person away.
Throwing out the baby with the bathwater.
Yep.
Well, that's why they don't give kids, you know what I'm saying, the fish with the bones in it to a certain age.
That's right, because you pick them things. You gonna have it in your throat.
Yep.
You ever get that bone in your throat?
Yes,
That's
and it
it.
don't move.
No, it doesn't. You
Yeah.
give me bread, water.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think I kind of go through it similarly to what you all said. I think, it hurts at first sometimes. Like if it's something close to the vest, or even maybe not. I mean, God's been working on me with shutting down pride and shutting down the need to control. So even if it's not something close to the vest, but my first response internally is, who you think you are to tell me whatever it is that you're telling me that I wasn't doing right, but how to, all of that. But then I think it goes to the next phase with, okay, well, let's sit and make sure you understand what they were saying. This is all internally. And then I think at that phase, I either choose to eat the meat and spit out the bones, right? And then I think all in the same kind of process, I these days determine, okay, don't wear offense. Because it's really not worth it. Whether the correction be whether the correction be delivered, in what I would say the right way is, or delivered in a way that could use some improvement, right? Today, I think I'm able to still see what I could take that helps, and then what I could leave that doesn't. Regardless of how it's delivered. I know, and I'm thinking of something else, but I know we'll get to that question down the line. So now, and then externally, I normally, okay, that's what I got. Okay. Or thanks. Thank you. If it's something where I have to say, well, thanks, but no thanks, I can do that too, And I think I can do it most of the time without an attitude. Most of the time. Yeah. Okay. Tell of a time. What's the one we said we couldn't think of? Let me skip that one and go to the next one. We hit that one last. Yeah. Tell of a time that sticks out in your mind about when you were corrected and the way you responded showed itself to be wise. And I can start. I can think of a recent situation where a friend of mine, we'd been keeping in contact. We both have been talking to each other about some medical issues that we were going through. And turns out that when I was having a procedure recently, and she knew I was having it. I don't know if she remembered the day and the time, but as soon as I got out of the procedure, got out of the medical facility and got into my car, she literally texted and asked, "Hey, how did it go?" And I was like, "Well, girl, I just literally sat down in my car, and I was just telling her how things went." And she and I had just kind of been communicating, up until that point, very frequently, at least for in my mind, because before we started talking about these medical things that we were going through, we really hadn't talked a lot, right? But it's a friend from back in the day. So, I told her how it went, and she encouraged me, and but then she was due to have a procedure maybe the next week or the next couple of weeks. And I had been thinking about her, praying for her, thinking about her, and intending in my head to reach out and call or text and say, hey, how you doing, building up to the jump. I didn't. And so she reached out to me after the procedure and was like, hey, Nick, it went well, da-da-da. They found out that everything is all good and, praise God. And so then I texted, was like, oh, great. I'm so happy to hear that. How you feeling? How you healing? Cool. And then like later on that night, or maybe the following night, she sent me a text and said, hey, I was just kind of wrestling with this and I just wanted to say something about it. I was wondering, after we talked or after we texted, after your procedure, she's like, I was wondering, like, how come you didn't reach out? Like, how come you didn't kind of check on me and see how things were going, right? Now, internally, I was like, I'm supposed to text you every day? Like, I'm supposed to call you? We just, you know what I mean? That's what I was saying to myself inside. But then I hit, but at least she reached out and asked you nicely and asked you, you know what I'm saying? Like, there was love there. She was like, how come you didn't reach out, sis? Like, I could tell that. And you know what I mean? Yeah. And so it was like the Holy Spirit was saying, wait a minute, though. At least she said something to you as your friend versus holding it in, becoming bitter about it, and how what bitterness does. And we don't know how it can come out later on. Yeah. When all she had to do was say something. And she did. And so I was grateful in that moment. Before I sent the text back, I was grateful that I could hear the Holy Spirit say that and correct me, right? And then I shot her a text back and I was like, hey, girl, you know what? I said, I thought about you X, Y, and Z days. And I really thought, hey, reach out to her, just check on her, but I didn't, and my bad. I'm sorry, And then I went on to say, and I'm real grateful. I told her about my internal experience real quick, and I was like, I'm so grateful that I can say now at this point in my life that I thought past being offended and thought about the fact that you love me enough to actually reach out and say something versus sweep it under the rug and then let it fester maybe and turn into something that it didn't have to be. Yeah, so I'm grateful for that. And thank you for reaching out. Yeah. Right. And so that I was really, really grateful. I felt all warm and gooey inside, but not because of me, but because of the work the Holy Spirit has done in me. You know what I'm saying? Through some very humbling experiences. And so I think that's a time that I wanted to share about when I received correction, not just from the Holy Spirit, because I kind of took it as kind of correction from her too, like, hey sis, where you at? You know what I mean? Yeah. So, yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Well, I have sorry, Joshua makes me laugh, but we have my family has a group text, and so it's my 3 kids, Montague and I. And sometimes we just send things to each other, silly things. And I can't remember what was happening, but Joshua was in the room with me, and I took a picture of him and put it on there and said, like, he can't wait to do something. I put something. And Joshua really didn't like the picture. It wasn't a bad picture, of course, but I'm his mother. Right. So, and then he got on the group and said, Mom, can you not put pictures on here without asking me first or saying something to me first? And then when I read it, I was like, you know what, you're taking it too far. You need to calm down because it's just us, right? That's really what I was thinking in my mind. Yeah. And I hadn't responded yet, but I was like, bro, you don't. And I was getting ready to just say something like something smart. And then after that, he sent a text and said, did I say that okay? Like, did I communicate that? And I immediately just softened up. Like, if he doesn't want you to post a picture of him, not post because I don't really post, but if he didn't want you to put the picture up and he said it, at least he said it. Yeah. And that's what I need, especially my children. I need them to be able to do that. I need my kids to be able to express when they're uncomfortable with something, no matter who they're talking to, whether it's each other, whether it's Montague and I, whether it's you guys or whoever. Yeah. So when I texted back, I said, Josh, you communicated that extremely well. He did a really good job. Absolutely. So now I am literally just pretty careful about, if or I'll just send it to Montague and he won't know about it. But yeah, I think that was a like you said, Nikki, just a really it only takes a couple seconds for a whole lot to happen in your mind.
Yes.
And but that goes back to what I was saying before. This was with regards to Josh. So, coming from my son correcting me on something that I did to him that he didn't want me to do, completely appropriate.
Yes.
So yeah, that was a good time. I did all right on that time.
Yes. Good. Yes.
I'm sitting here trying to think of something, and I'm sure there are several situations, but nothing's coming to mind. But I guess I'll share. It was a family member that I was having a text conversation with a while ago, and I had done something or said something that for them, they felt like they were being talked down to. And it was a situation where, when people are dealing with whatever issue they may be dealing with, and they may not want to uncover that issue. And so if you expose it, they're not comfortable with that. And this was one of those kinds of situations. And so before I could go to, well, you just saying that because you ain't want to talk about it and you ain't want to da-da-da-da-da, I slowed down and I said, this is a moment to love, right? This is a moment to show that even though they may not be texting me out of a heart of, how do I say it? The fact that they were uncomfortable with the conversation that was being had, and we were now texting about it, and they were saying, I wish that you would not have talked to me this way, right? I was able to slow down in that moment and just see it from their perspective. Although I may want something for them, they may not want it yet.
Yeah.
So for me to respond in a way of just not in love, I had to make sure that my response was in love. And I think I did a good job with how I responded back. And to my knowledge, they were pretty receptive of it because of how they responded back to me. But I know I'm kind of vague because they could watch this and they may not want certain details shared. But it was just one of those situations where I could have responded out of just, well, fine, we don't have to talk about it no more then, because you just don't want to talk about it ever. I could have said that, but instead of that, it was, okay, I apologize, please forgive me. It was only, I tried to explain why I may have said something the way that it was said, but I was like, you know what? I apologize that it made you feel that way, and, whatever else I said. So, I think sometimes when it's a situation where the other person is just not ready for, it's weird because it was like a situation where I was kind of bringing correction.
Okay.
But they weren't ready for it.
Yeah.
So I had to take a step back and say, okay, I apologize that I made you feel that way. And that was it. You know what I mean? So,
and in turn, that was kind of like a correction for you. It sounds like you were doing the correcting, or you had the agenda to correct, or the mind to correct, right? The heart to correct. But that person wasn't ready. I mean, I don't know if you thought about possible responses from the person, and are they going to receive? Okay, right.
I did.
Right. So then they weren't ready.
They weren't ready.
So then did you kind of execute, okay, this is plan B. So they're not ready. So then I'm going to respond this way.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. I didn't want to add any more fire to the situation. So I had to just really take a step back and say, okay, you felt that way, and I apologize. I apologize for that, you know. And then it's like you just trust God with the rest, because at that point, I can't keep talking about something that you're just not ready to talk about.
Yeah, and
So-
I mean that sounds like you still had to do some humbling of yourself
Oh, absolutely.
because you wanted to go on with something that you wanted, that you had planned to do.
Yeah.
But that person wasn't ready, so you had to, like you said, take a step back, and that
Yeah.
sounds like you had to humble yourself.
Yeah.
And in correction, humility is a big part.
Absolutely. I'm sorry, I couldn't really explain anything clearer than that, but
You can follow.
Yeah, that
You
works.
can follow.
Okay.
Okay. Well, the inverse is think of a time. Did anybody get their time yet? Of
I do.
okay, so that sticks out to you when you were corrected and you did not respond well. This gonna be funny.
Nah.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't know. I don't know. I was talking to Montague, and he was talking about some character traits that I have that are not necessarily ones that he enjoys. And he was, saying he was kind of trying to gently, just let me know how I make him feel when I react a certain way or don't react a certain way, or, that kind of stuff. And so I think he was finished, or I cut him off. I probably cut him off. But I said, so you basically want me to change. And I was just like, you just want me to try to act like somebody else. Because that's going to be fake. And then I kind of went through what I knew he wanted me to do, or what he wanted me to be, or how he wanted me to be, or however you want to word that. And I just wasn't receptive to what he was saying. Because in my head, I was like, well, you married me, though. So you get what you get and you don't get upset. If this is how I am, this is how I am. However, and I do understand you don't go into marriage wanting to change someone. But even still, when we were talking, and I was like, but when we first met, you didn't know me. You know me now because of all this time. So then what you thought, you didn't know it. That one, everything. You only had a little bit. You only had the surface. And I was very bothered, annoyed. I had a lot of negative feelings about what he was saying, because I was just looking like, that ain't me. Like, what are you talking about? Like, no, you have to turn that around, bro, because, you're asking for something that's not there. But I just don't think it wasn't an appropriate response. I didn't hear him out. I was being difficult, which made it hard for him to even try to explain what he was, trying to say in the conversation. And we kept talking. We were like sitting in the car, which is a really good place to converse because you can't get up. I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
Do I storm out? I don't storm. I'm not a storm outer. I don't know. He's gonna watch this, so I don't know.
Storm outer.
Yeah, but if I get angry enough, I will leave. So I guess that is.
Well, when you storm, though,
I don't
it's
storm,
chaotic.
but I will.
You exit.
She shuts down. So I might just leave here. I might leave here, or I might.
Okay.
So, but in the car, you kind of can't do that. But I remember sitting on the passenger side. Of my best friend's ride. Yeah, that's what but either way,
I can't stand you.
and I remember my body like this way now. Mind you, he's over here, and I don't think after that I ever looked back at him. I looked, even when I spoke, I would look up. I remember looking at trees and birds and flowers and grass. I don't remember looking back at him because I was just looking like, and my expression was kind of like,
when you done.
yeah, kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
you can keep saying that, but we all know that ain't gonna happen. So we can keep going there. It just wasn't. It wasn't mature. It wasn't. You know. It wasn't savory at all. I could have done better. There was a lot of pride in my heart in that moment too. What I grapple with oftentimes is an older version of me that wanted people to like me and wanted to be accepted, that and didn't want to really be different, or I just wanted to be the liked person, and now I don't care. Like, all right, you like her or you don't. Like I'm too old to be running around here trying to fit into everybody's puzzle pieces. So in this season that I'm in, I just sometimes look. This is the package, whatever. But then sometimes I take it too far. And I even told Samara recently, something we were talking about, and I was like, girl, I don't care. She was like, Mom, you say that a lot. I say a lot of times I don't mean it though. It's definitely a defense mechanism. You can, all right, look, this girl don't care when I do. So I trying not to be that on that extreme, especially when it comes to Montague, because we're gonna be together forever. So he should be able to say, this is what I need from you as a husband to build me up. This is what I need from you.
Yeah.
And what he doesn't need is me to say, so you just want me to be like, you want me to change my name too? You want to call me Felicia from now on? Like, what you want me to be? And he didn't deserve that in the moment. And we haven't talked about it. This is coming out now. We haven't talked about it like after, but he knew the resistance.
Right.
Because he knows me so well.
Yeah.
Right.
And he could tell by my body language and by these eyebrows. These eyebrows didn't let down. You thought I got them freshly done.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, like, it was almost just like, whatever.
Yeah.
I did everything outside of just shrugging my shoulders like, sure. And it was just not my best moment. And this was maybe like 3-4 weeks ago. So it was pretty recent. But that wasn't a shining moment.
Wasn't savory.
Wasn't savory.
Savor.
Okay, y'all. Well, that was today's episode of Sharpen on Can I Be Corrected? Where, like every time, no matter the conversation, we always seem to whittle life down to what matters most. And we hope that today, as you hung out with us, you were able to, or you were inspired to do the same. And so we thank y'all so much for being with us. Lynn, we miss you. And
miss you.
Next time, you're going to be with us or whatever. If you like this video, please like, please share, please comment, and subscribe to the channel on YouTube, Spotify, yes, and Facebook. Just be.
Oh, look, we said it at the same time. Just be, y'all.
So we'll see y'all next time, okay?
Ciao.
Ciao. Bye.